but this guy is kind of goofy looking. Hey guys, welcome to CalicoRadio Knits. I'm Taryn and this is Mac, and today we are going to be making some Christmas ornaments. Last year I made this little sweater and a pretzel, and Mac's favorite, of course, is him. It's so funny that he really goes for this one. So those are the three I made, and when I pulled them out to decorate for Christmas, I realized that I kind of wanted to make more. I also kind of wanted to make another Mac. Maybe I will make a little Mac ornament every year. He's actually pretty gentle with it. Okay, go ahead. So after decorating our Christmas tree and also seeing all of the great inspiration on Instagram and Ravelry, I kind of decided that I did actually want to knit ornaments. I do have a fair amount of yarns I think I can use. It is a pretty small stash because we just moved, but I definitely have a fair amount of red and white, which I think will work well. Some greens, kind of non-traditional greens for Christmas. And for the patterns, I decided to compile a Millinote. I've been a bit addicted to Millinote, honestly, recently. It's a great place for me to compile kind of all the different images that I'm inspired by, because I find that having some patterns in Ravelry bundles, some on Instagram, some in Pinterest, it's hard to keep them all straight. So I just kind of took all of the things that I've been inspired by in the last couple of weeks since the ornament knitting has kind of kicked off, and I've compiled them into one Millinote, which I will show you here. Some are actual patterns, some are honestly just screenshots that I found on Instagram that I really liked. I definitely won't be making all of these for sure, but I thought this was a great place to kind of mix and match. I will definitely link a bundle, a Ravelry bundle, for any of the patterns here that do have an actual pattern. So before we get too into it, I am going to run to the shop and I will take you guys along to pick up some of these supplies. I'm going to be going to Sostren Gren. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but it is the Sisters Green, essentially, and it is one of my favorite shops here. I used to go back in the day, and it has so many cool supplies, also perfect for Christmas, so I will take you guys downtown to go pick that up, maybe check out some of the decorations in Dublin as well. Okay, now that I'm back, I have my supplies. I'm going to be making the Tiny Little Donut by Julie Williams, which I saw last year but was a bit intimidated by it because I had never made any ornaments and it just seemed so tiny and so fiddly. This year I finished making the Musselburgh hat and I used this very cute pinky speckled yarn, which you can see right here. Hi, my face. You can see right here. And actually, when I finished the Musselburgh hat, I thought with the scrap yarn that this would be great for that little donut. I really had that cute donut on my mind pretty much since last year. So now that I have this cutesy yarn, I have the beads to decorate the top. I think I am going to knit this one first. Okay, so the donut is done. Mac's very curious about it. Seems like he likes the ribbon the most. But I ended up changing color because in the pattern it said about making like a frosting and then like the doughy part, which I thought was super cute. And it ended up being much less fiddly knit-wise than I thought it was going to be. But fiddly as far as sewing goes. So yeah, sewing. So it was a fair amount of sewing, but when I started seaming everything together, I kind of thought, ugh, this is gonna be annoying, but it worked really well and it was pretty seamless. I was planning on adding little beads to the frosting part, but then I realized the little speckles in the yarn kind of give you that sprinkle feeling anyway, so I might go back and add beads, I'm not sure yet. But yeah, in this tiny project, I also learned something new, which is pretty cool. I learned how to purl front and back. I think I will crochet something next. I enjoyed this a lot, but why not mix it up and crochet something? Okay, the next ornament is done. As you can see here, I ended up kind of just doing two essentially granny squares, but circular granny squares, and then seaming them together with single crochet. I am happy with how it turned out, but it does look a tad too crafty for me, I think. I do like it. I think it looks much better now that I swapped the colors. I originally was using this red and green, and I swapped it for this red and green. I just thought that this combination was a bit too saturated and a bit too much, just essentially kind of artificial looking, while this more like muted red and green was a bit more modern or sophisticated or something like that. It is probably honestly just the granny square stitch. I do like it, but sometimes it just comes out a bit too crafty. But I am happy with this. I think the color combination kind of makes it look a little nicer. I really liked how Simona from Low Key Knits made hers. I think that made it look really nice, like the white to the dark red variation was really nice. But anyway, happy with this one. I definitely will hang it on my tree. It's just not obviously as cutesy as the donut, which is almost impossible to beat really. So I think I'm gonna take a break for now because the sun, it is only 2 p.m., but somehow the sun is going down, it seems. So I'm gonna take Mac for a walk because he has been sleeping. He's somewhere inside here. We're gonna go for a walk, maybe I'll go for a run, and then I will pick it back up tonight. We're back and it is significantly darker now, but whatever I work on tonight, I will be sure to show you guys tomorrow in the daylight. So I think I'm going to tackle the star next because that's honestly the project that I want the most. I'm most intimidated to knit it, but I really want the finished product. So I am going to use this Yawool Superwash fingering weight yarn held double to make it. I did look at the pattern a couple days ago and then earlier today as well, and I think it's some kind of provisional cast on that I've never done before, so I'm excited to learn how to do that. And basically, I'm pretty sure it's knit from the tips of the star to the center on either side. So you kind of cast on a provisional cast on, you knit one side of the star and then the other side of the star. So yeah, I'm going to start that now using this yarn and 3mm needles. Good morning, guys. It is the next day and I have a fair amount of progress to show you, which I'm pretty excited about. I finished the star that I was working on last night. As you can see here, Maggie. It turned out pretty lumpy. I think it looks kind of like Patrick from SpongeBob, like the way the points here are pretty fat and then it doesn't come out evenly to a point. So the pattern did call for double pointed needles. Whenever the pattern calls for double pointed needles, I usually end up using circular needles and either using the magic loop method or shorty needles, which I really don't mind actually. They don't cramp up my hands too much. I think for this pattern I should have used double pointed needles just because I was really straining the material, so there were some gaps in the star. And also the way it worked with the provisional cast on, it just would have worked better with double pointed needles, which is exactly why I did end up casting on a second star this morning. and using double pointed needles. I don't know what made me buy these originally, but I never have used double pointed needles. I know the concept in theory, but I just always thought I'll use it when it kind of is a necessity. And for this pattern, it definitely is. So I am so excited to be working with these. It's a technique that I know is fairly common and a lot of people know how to do it, but I just never have done it. I don't know why, but I feel like it's such a flex to be able to use double pointed needles. Like, it always looks so fiddly but beautiful. And I can remember the first time I saw these actually. It was when I went to visit a friend in Vermont, and his mom had a basket with yarn, and it looked beautiful. It was full of yarn and her projects. And she had at the top a sock that she was knitting with double pointed needles, and it just looked beautiful. And I remember saying to her, like, oh, I know how to knit, but I've never seen that before. And she was like, oh yeah, it's not hard. It's essentially the same concept, but just using multiple needles to move all the way around and stuff. And she showed me how to do it a little bit, but I never did it myself. And that was 8 or 9 years ago. So all that to say, I am working a second star because I really want to try and get it right and get the shape right and follow the pattern properly and do it justice, because it is a very pretty project. So yeah, this has been an absolute pleasure. And as always, I love learning new knitting techniques, and I honestly don't think there's ever been a knitting technique that I thought, oh, I'll never do this. I love all aspects of knitting, and there's so much to learn. So I did work a couple other projects last night. After working that star, it was a bit difficult, so I kind of wanted a palette cleanser project. Yeah, so I made this little rectangle. It's double stockinette, and I'm going to add some white felt and some beads to make it a little pop-tart. I think it'll go well with the donut project. And I worked up, there's a lot of strings here because I haven't woven anything together, but I worked on the second dachshund ornament that I wanted to make. So I made the initial shape. I haven't seamed it together. This project is just worked flat. And then I made the 2 little ears, which also have very long tails because I need to attach them to the dog before I seam everything up and stuff it. But that is it so far. I'm really happy with the progress. I kind of got much more done than I thought I would, which is unusual. So for now, I'm gonna keep working on this red star, and I'm not sure what I'll work on next. Let's see how difficult this ends up being. Maybe I'll do another simple project like crochet or something like that. But yeah, I'm gonna keep working on this and see how far I get today. Hey guys, welcome back. I have a couple more ornaments to show you. It is a couple days later. The last couple days have been extremely dark, and I also got into kind of a good flow with the ornaments, so I didn't record. I also was knitting out in public, so that's why I didn't record. I was at a knitting circle, but I will show you guys everything I've knitted now. This is the red star, which you guys saw, and I made a second white star, which is a little bit wonky, but pretty good overall. I'm very happy with these. They turned out much better than my first. I seamed up the dog ornament. I made a little sweater for him, which was really fast, but it turned out honestly pretty wonky. Like, his feet are a little odd. The nose is super tiny. The tail is like a little pigtail. Last year I made this version, which turned out much better. I actually wrote a pattern for this last year, and I was debating about releasing it this year and recording a tutorial and stuff like that. But I'm honestly glad I didn't do it because I think it's kind of a hard pattern to replicate. So I think for next year, I'm going to try and make a similar pattern, but with DK weight yarn, and just make it more easily reproducible, because this one is not. Like, This one looks really good. I also forgot how I seamed up the feet. Like these feet look really nice and the nose is good, but this guy is kind of goofy looking, honestly, but it's okay. I'm happy to have one good one and we'll see what we do with this. Maybe I'll recycle the stuffing. All right, next up is the Pop-Tart with the felt and the beads sewn on. And this went by really quickly. It was very fun and I'm very satisfied with the result. It kind of goes well with the donut ornament, I think. And the last ornament I made was this little sweater. I used Shopple Wool Das Paar, I think was the yarn, and it is the same type of yarn as this one, just in a different colorway. And I made this one last year, so just made a little buddy for the sweater because it seems kind of like I'm knitting things in twos. I have 2 dogs, I have 2 desserts, Pop-Tart and donut. I have 2 stars, so why not 2 sweaters? And I also bought these adorable little hangers that they're both on a little while ago, so I needed a reason to use more of them because they're so cute. But yeah, that is all of the ornaments. I am really satisfied with the collection. If you guys made any ornaments this year or in previous years that you really liked, feel free to let me know in the comments what you made. I'd love to hear what you guys are making or made as well. I will also link any of these patterns in the description box of this video in case anyone wants to do any last minute knitting. Thanks so much for coming along, guys. I hope you guys have a great holiday season if you're celebrating, and yeah, get a lot of knitting time in. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.